Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a great day today. My name's Cody and I want to thank you so much for stopping by. So today is a great day. It's a little on the cooler side. I think we're at about 10 degrees Celsius, which is not bad for me. That's what I like to work out in. Quite windy, and we are expected to get around 100 mils of rain, so that is quite a lot. We actually have a rainfall warning in effect for our area right now. So my goal today is to get our pumpkin field prepped. So I've got to lay down some landscape fabric, and then I've got to make sure that the wind doesn't blow that all away. And I don't think I'm going to get to planting today, but today, if we can get that prepped, we'll call that good. So yeah, I got a few things to do, but let's get the pumpkins all prepped to go. Here's one of our planters that I did up last week, starting to fill out quite nicely. So I'm really excited to see how this one's going to turn out. I love the color of those petunias. Don't they just look fantastic? So about a week ago, I tried to lay this fabric down, but the staples I had with the fabric, they weren't long enough really to make much of an impact with attaching the fabric to the soil there. So I've got these sidewalk tiles that I'm going to use instead. They're quite heavy and they should do the trick. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I grew the pumpkins out here last year and we had a lot of success with how they went, but the weeds just took over the field halfway through and I couldn't keep up, and it was tough because all the vines would grow every which way, which is good, that's what you want, but then the weeds would also grow up in there, so controlling the weeds was a big problem. And this year what I'd like to do is eliminate that as a possibility, or an inevitability I suppose, by laying down the landscape fabric, and that's going to give the pumpkin something nice and clean to grow on top of. It's going to help trap a little bit more moisture, keep the roots a little bit warmer, and it's also going to suppress all of those weeds, which I think is going to make in the end for a much better pumpkin patch. So the hard part is getting all of this fabric laid down, but I think doing this little bit of work in the beginning is going to make such a big difference for the whole crop for the rest of the season. So well worth the effort. And I'm kind of racing against the weather here. Like I said, we've got about 100 mils, they say, what's that, 10 centimeters of rain coming in a very short period of time. Very unusual for us to even get, 1 mil of rain out here. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great because we've got the sunflowers in. That's fantastic. But if I can get these pumpkins in before that comes, that would just be unreal. But my goal is to get the fabric down today. So without any further ramblings, let's get to work. There we go, we got our first row down and hopefully secured. We just have, 10 or 15 more rows to go, so let's get back to work. I was able to get 2 rows in place down there, which is fantastic, but it is starting to sprinkle on us here, and the radar is pretty scary looking. So before we get showered on completely, I'm probably going to wrap it up for today. But before I head back to the office here, I'm going to grab some rhubarb, just because it's a good time to get it. So let's get that. So when I'm picking rhubarb, I like to try to go for the center of the plant here, and I try to find a stalk, that's not much bigger than the width of my thumb. Some of them can get quite large, especially when you get down to the bottom here, like the leaves you see are quite large. But I find those ones tend to be a bit more tough and not as flavorful. So I go for the middle of the plant, and I look around till I find a good candidate here. Here's a good one. So it's really important when you're harvesting rhubarb that you want to, probably 2 hands, and you want to pull straight up and away from the root. And if you do it correctly, you'll get this little white bit here come off. Now, when you pull off rhubarb like this, it's going to signal to the plant that it needs to send out another leaf. If you break it off and you get a cut around the bottom and you don't get this little node off, the plant actually thinks that this leaf is still attached, so you're not going to get another leaf. But when you pull them off this way, you get an extra leaf come off. So that's really important that you want to make sure you do that. So here's another one. We're just going to grab the stalk, gently pull up, and it'll pop off, and you see you get that little white tag on the bottom there. So now we're going to get another stalk, another leaf out of there. So yeah, it doesn't take too long to get a good amount. This is fantastic. I don't know the variety of this. It's been on the farm, you know, since, gosh, 1960, and it's one of my favorites. Just even to eat raw, no sugar, nothing. It's just really, really fantastic. I cut them this way just because that's usually what I do when I sell them at market. It just looks a little bit more authentic, I guess, to leave a little bit of the leaf on, and then the root nub there as well. But yeah, I'd say that's really, really good. When I do harvest, I like to make sure that I do it either early in the morning or after or during a rain like this. You're going to make sure that the stalks are nice and firm and plump. If you do it in the middle of the day when it's hot and the sun's been beating on them, a lot of times the stalks will actually wilt, and then you get not necessarily the most firm rhubarb. So yeah, during a rain, in the early morning is always ideal time to harvest your rhubarb. And you never want to take too much either. You don't want to overpick. It will keep producing, but you don't want to take so much that the actual plant there doesn't have enough leaves to photosynthesize to make more energy for itself. So always take just enough for yourself and make sure the plant has plenty there. And then around you know, July, August, you probably, well, definitely August, but around, you know, July, mid-July, you probably want to stop harvesting it on as well, just so the plant has a chance for the rest of the summer to gather up as much energy as possible so it can actually survive over the winter and continue on for many, many years. So just a quick little rhubarb detour here before we get chased in from the thunder, lightning, and this rain. So I'm going to duck inside here. Welcome back, everybody. It's been 3 days since we got chased out of the field by that rainstorm, and holy smokes, it's been nothing but crazy. You can see the greenhouse here is still standing, so that's fantastic. But my makeshift poly wrap did not survive, so that's okay. I needed to get a proper piece of that anyway. So all the dahlias are doing perfectly fine, and all of our plants here for sale are still doing actually really quite well, so that's awesome. But yeah, today we just going to keep on working what we're working on. So as you can see, we had quite a lot of damage in our shelter belt here. Some of these old maples have come down, and they've landed on top of the tulips here, so we're going to have to get those all tidied up today. We can see some of the branches come down. That wind was gnarly and land right on top of the tulips here. This old trunk completely fell down, and it's flattened there. Just landed right on top of those poor tulips. You can see that there. And then this one actually cracked right off there at, yeah, just right at the split. And it's leaning up into that tree, so that's dangerous. We'll have to take care of that. there you go, made pretty quick work of those branches. There weren't too many, and it was pretty quick with this nice little saw here. So the last one is this old maple here. It had a weak spot in it already. You can kind of see this natural hollow, which most likely was an old branch that rotted out, and then the woodpeckers decided to make a home in there, which definitely weakened the overall branch itself. So in those winds, it just kind of came down. Now, don't want to leave this up just because it's definitely hazard. We have people walking in and under here, and even though this branch is supported by other branches, it's just hanging there waiting for something bad to happen. So even though it's big, that's okay, safety first, right? So we're going to remove this branch, and then that pretty much does it for the cleanup here in the tulips. Alright, that one, full disclosure, was a lot taller than I thought. It's dang near 20 feet tall and a good size caliper to the base here, so a little bit heavier than I anticipated, but that's okay. She is down now and not going to fall on anybody. That's the important thing. I'm going to get this thing bucked up and then maybe take a bit of a break. We'll see. So all the branches are cleaned up and out of the tulips now, so it's safe for people to walk back there now, which is super important for us. They're all cut up and ready to go, so the last thing I need to do is get the tractor and pick them up, but probably won't do that right away. Got a few other things to work on, so let's get back to it. The next thing that we're going to work on today is we have to get the pumpkins in. We're already a couple of weeks behind on that, so that's not great, especially given our short growing season. So initially my intent was to get the landscape fabric laid down and then plant the pumpkins into the landscape fabric to help me reduce weeds. But that's not going to be the case this year. It just didn't work out with the way that we had that weather, as well as having that area tilled up. I wasn't able to get the stakes into the ground securely because it was just too loose. So that's a good lesson for me for next year. So without any further delays here, I'm just going to get the field tilled up one more time to help kill any of the weeds that have started to grow, and then we're going to get the pumpkin patch planted today. So let's get to it. Field's all tilled up, the weeds have been dealt with now, so the last thing we can do is get these seeds in the ground. So I'm not going to do it in any particular order, just have a few varieties I'm getting in. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, but as to like the varieties or anything like that, but it's super easy. They just go in the ground and you cover them. And I don't do much with the pumpkins out here, you know, we just kind of let Mother Nature take over from here. There's no irrigation and no cover or anything like that. Just put them in the ground and away they go. So we do have to do the weed control because I couldn't get that fabric down, but that's okay, right? You got to roll with the punches and play the hand you're dealt. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to get these going here. So let's get to work. There we go. I always forget that I have this thing. So after doing a few rows by hand, I went and I grabbed our handy seeder here and things went a lot faster. Go figure, right? But that is a huge chore off the plate now. So we've got our pumpkins in and ready to go. I'm happy about that. Just about an acre altogether here. So like 40,000 square feet or 43, something like, I don't remember. About an acre. And yeah, now it's just maintenance from here on out for the rest of the summer. So that's like I said, another great chore off my plate. Just came over to have a look at our sunflowers that we put in not too long ago, and I don't know if you can see right here, there is a bunch of them coming up, so they've all done really well. That rain, even though it was frustrating because it delayed the pumpkins, it has definitely given the sunflowers a great head start. So I'm so excited to see how well they're doing. It's always nice when you do something and it works out. So this whole area is just going to be filled up with sunflowers in no time, and it's just, like I say, so exciting to see them already hit the ground running. There we go. That's the end of another great day. We got, I think, quite a bit accomplished there with cleaning up the shelter belt, trying to get the pumpkins started, getting chased in by the rain, and then coming back, oh, there we go, today to get that all finished. So pumpkins are all in the ground now, so it took a little longer than I anticipated, but again, that should be the name of this channel. So I'm just happy to have that chore done. Now they can just sit there and grow and do what pumpkins do out in the field, and then harvest will be here before we know it. But yeah, I just want to thank everyone so much for watching and hanging out with me today, and I really do appreciate that. So yeah, whatever you get up to here for the rest of the day, I hope you guys have a good one. So take care, and until next time, we'll see you later. Bye now.